What is up, delicious faithful? Bruce Moore here, wishing you a happy new year and welcome to season 5 of the greatest metal podcast on the web. For the first episode of the year, we have Hiraes, a German mellow death band. Starting here in 2024, we're going to be including reviews and a band of the week. So for the first band of the week, it's going to be Ramchat, a Slovenian black metal band. And we're lucky enough to have them premiere a single for us. Also, we have a review of Exodus Rising, a Long Island-based band. So be sure to stay tuned to the end for some killer reviews and our band of the week. And then go check them out and make sure you tell them we sent you. As always, thanks for the support and keep it metal.
Hey everyone, this is Britta from the band Hiraes. You're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Fine, like a good promotion phase so far. Keeping
Nice.
busy, yeah.
That was the first time I think I came across you guys was on 70,000 Tons. That first year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2011 was it, right?
Yeah. And my partner, Chris, who you know as well from Vancouver and 70K, he was going to try and make it in here. You remember Chris Seegers?
Yes, I do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's my partner. We do this
Crazy.
together usually, but he's busy today. So he was going to try and jump in when I told him I had you coming on.
Oh, but please, say hi to him from me. That's awesome.
That's funny. So let's talk about how do you
Blast
pronounce
from
it?
the past.
Yes. How do you pronounce
Hiraes.
this name? Hiraes. Okay. So for those not familiar with Hiraes, can you give me the, 2-sentence elevator pitch?
2 seconds elevator pitch. I don't know.
2 sentence.
I was 2 sentences or 2 seconds. I got
No.
this. Okay. Hiraes is a melodic death metal band from Germany. We formed in 2020 during the pandemic. We have released one album through Napalm Records already. The album is called Solitary, and the next album, Dormant, will also be released through Napalm Records in January 2024.
I've been listening to We Owe No One on repeat. That's a really crazy heavy song. I love it.
Yeah, you love it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, it's groovy, right? It has
Yeah.
a great groove. Like I feel like I want to dance to that song a lot.
Well, that was going to bring me to my question. There's a lot of, maybe it's not a lot, but there seems to be some electronic elements in it too as well, right? Especially towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think like on the previous record Solitary, we also had some backing tracks, like some soundscapes going on, but they were more like orchestra type of instruments that we chose for that. And this time we worked together with Jan Listing from the band Chaos Bay, and he did all the soundscapes and keys and stuff like that. And he was also a little bit part of he had some cool ideas with arrangement and stuff like that. So it was a very fruitful work situation we had there. And here and there on the album, you can hear some more synthy electronic elements, like not sneaking into the foreground, but sneaking into the middle ground, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it works really well because it's a good contrast, right? You've got that heavy voice of yours and the guitars along with that soundscape, I guess you're calling them. And that really makes the contrast, makes a difference. Or makes it multi-layered and different, I think.
I agree with you. Like for me, I always look at the soundscapes not as a core element, but as a glue that kind of like keeps everything together, much like a sauce that you put over a really nice dish to just make it a little bit more zesty, you know. It was so much fun to work with Jan and to hear like everything come together, because as we were writing the songs, we wrote it completely without the soundscapes, and I wrote all the lyrics for the album without hearing the soundscapes, and then when everything came together, it was just like it felt really good that moment.
What's been the response to it? Have people been digging it?
So far, overwhelmingly positive. Like same for Through the Storm, the first single that we put out just a couple of weeks ago, and now We Are No One. Like it was not easy to pick the singles because you wanted to mark like the cornerstones of the album, so to speak.
Right.
But for We Are No One, we always like we said, okay, this song has to be a single because it's very catchy, very 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 groovy, not cheesy. It's very energetic. So that was cool, and people loved it. And also with the video that we released, we kind of did something that we haven't done before. The whole setting was new. We kind of went a little playful on that as well. So far, only positive feedbacks. But we could be happier. Like really, it's cool.
So was it different writing this album? I mean, obviously it was writing this album from the first one where you were locked down and in a pandemic, right? How did it change the writing process?
I would say that, well, first of all, when we came together as a band in 2020, we wrote the album over the internet. And I mean, our main songwriter, Lucas, is responsible for all the riffs. So that hasn't changed. But I mean, Hiraes was a band that has not played live before writing songs for the first record. And we couldn't meet in between. Like we couldn't like test things out in the rehearsal room, couldn't like feel how it feels playing these songs. And this is a little different now for this album. And I mean, we have played a lot during the last 2 years. So we have a real core feeling now as being a live band. And this is something that has really found its way into our songwriting. And also, I think, in the density of the songwriting. When it comes to that, I recently someone asked me like, how would you describe these two albums? And I said they are part of the same person, part of the same character. But when Solitary is the head, Dormant, the album next one, is definitely the guts. So it's a little bit more direct and it's a little bit more dense and compact, I would say.
Okay. So since you're the primary lyric writer, then is there anything you want your fans to walk away from after listening to a high-risk record, or specifically this record coming up?
I tell you what, it's really strange with this band. I mean, it's not my first band,
Right.
but I have never before received so many very personal and very individual feedbacks from people who connected through the lyrics with the songs. And it was for the first record, and it's happening again for these two songs now that we put out from the other record. So this is really rewarding. And if anything, I really wish to connect with people. I mean, you have your favorite songs, you have your life-saving songs. I have my life-saving songs, and I know what these songs are worth to me. And to be able to write something that means something as like so much to another person, that's a really that's the reward for being an artist, I think, like to connect with people. So in Hiraes, I write different than I write or I have written for other bands. Like that's because Lucas riffs, they kind of spark a little light at the end of the tunnel. So it's not all destruction and gore.
Right.
It's always like, okay, we have a bad situation, but we're going to make it through. There's always this positive outcome there. And so I think, I mean, once the record is finished, you can look back on it and look back on the work. And the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at the lyrics as a whole is resilience. Building resilience and thriving from resilience. And if people can like just pick something positive out of that, that is something that makes me really happy, especially in these times where everything seems to be like kind of fall apart, dissolve,
All right, so that I've got two questions that just brought up. First, do you ever feel that you put too much of yourself into your music and you're too vulnerable? And second, do you feel a sense of responsibility to convey that message of a spark at the end, or is that just who you are?
I think it was what Hiraes is. I think it is also a part of me, but I look at myself in different artistic scenarios as like pieces of a pie, like I'm a 360-degree pie, so to speak, but I look from a certain perspective.
What kind of pie?
And the Hiraes, Cherry pie, come on.
Yes,
What kind of pie?
Yes.
No,
Sorry.
but definitely the piece of the Hiraes pie is garnished with something extra, with a little chocolate on top, if you want to put it like that. So I try to not stand in the way between the inspiration that I have and my artistic output. I try to not have the steering wheel. I try to let loose. Okay, let's see where this is taking me and take me down the rabbit hole. This is what I do, and so I don't really feel responsible for the lyrics per se. I feel like I don't stand in the way of the creative process that Lucas initiates with his riffs. And Lucas is a person with he's a great guitarist. He has a great sense for melodies, but he's also a really, really good guy. And I think he kind of has it in his playing, and it kind of rubs off on what I do. But in general, I would say I'm a realistic to positive tendencies person. Like I'm somewhere like that.
So you're traveling down that rabbit hole. You ever been like, holy shit, I put too much of myself there, I can't put that out? Or do you just go with it and see what happens?
To be honest, I don't think that you can be vulnerable enough in art. And it all comes down to how well can you manage to not make it like a diary where it is too concrete, where the vulnerability is more like, I don't want to say general, that's too far, but some kind of like still fuzzy, so that other people can take that ball of energy and reflect with it themselves and find something in it. And that sparks the strength that can come from art, I think. So I can be super, super personal without being too direct and specific. So I would never say like, my mom said this to me, and then my boyfriend said this to me.
Right.
That would probably be something like I would talk to my best friends or something like that. So in terms of that, no, it takes courage to do that. I feel like it takes courage. But I think when I started writing for Crippa, I was always like, oh, they're gonna catch on. They're gonna know what this is about, and no one knew. And people came up with completely different explanations and interpretations. And I think that is enriching what is happening there. In between the art when it kind of stands for itself.
Yeah. And I think no matter what you take away from it, I think heavy music in particular, has a way of being cathartic, not just for you in the studio, but for the listener, right? I mean, I could take away whatever I want, but there's a very real catharsis listening to that kind of music, listening to you scream like that.
Oh yes, I totally agree. Like I would say that maybe not heavy music per se, but intense music.
That's probably a better word. Yeah.
Whatever that may be for the person, but intense music is something that when it hits your frequency, your own personal frequency, then it's just like you can really like surf on that emotional wave and have a feeling of understanding that you probably won't be able to get from another person. Like there are songs on this earth that understand you as a person, me as a person,
right to the core.
I think, like, right into the core. Like there's nothing in between anymore. And I mean, people who don't know me write these songs, and I write songs and lyrics, and people who don't know me and I don't know these people take something very personal from it, and that's a beautiful thing. That's just the true magic part about it that I love so much. Yeah.
Are you guys taking this out on the road here in 24?
Yes, I mean we have a small release tour. We don't just have a release show. We have I think 6 shows or something like that we play. Will be very, very cool to play all the songs, which means that I'm learning the stuff by heart. Everyone digs himself in the rehearsal room and plays and sings. And then we are supporting the Czech band Dimitri on a part of their European 5 Angry Men tour, which should be fun. So this is like what we have planned. These are our next steps. Yeah.
We got to get you back on 70K here in January.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I've been going every year, and it's amazing still.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get you. You only played that 1 year, right?
No, we played 11 and 14 with Cripper. Yeah,
Oh,
twice.
I didn't know you were. So I missed. I think I went 11. I was there. I must not have been there 14 if I didn't see you again. So I've been going most of the time. Maybe. But yeah, hopefully we'll get you back on there in the next couple of years, or maybe even this year.
Oh, I think this year would be regarding all the flight accommodations. But I mean, our release day is when the cruise starts, so we have a tour there. So it won't happen in January.
Never mind.
But yeah, probably the boat will leave Florida next year as well.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping so. There's nothing like that, right? That's an amazing time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are a couple metal cruises out there, but I mean, this whole Caribbean feeling and everything about it, and maybe I would even say maybe it's the most international cruise that is happening. I've enjoyed the trip so much, like let alone the adventure of like being able to play on such a thing.
Right.
I mean, the Virgin cruise, the very first one, where no one knew what's going to happen.
Right. We had no idea what to do.
No, and when we were a tiny band, and all of a sudden you stand there next to Chuck Billy and say, "Do you have an idea what's going on here?" I have got no fucking clue.
And I like it because you never know, like you find all these new bands, because obviously I don't hear everything. And I just remember stumbling up one morning and walking to the main deck, and you guys were playing. It was like an early show, like at 10 or 11 o'clock with the sun shining. I was like, holy shit, I never heard of Cripper before.
Yeah.
So you get to find all these bands that you never knew about. Yeah, and then I had, right. So it's pretty cool. So what's next for you then after
definitely.
that? Go ahead. After that next little short run, you guys got bigger plans for the year, or more singles, more videos?
We have one more single coming up before the release in January, and then we hope that we can catch one or the other festival. We have a few smaller festivals lined up. Unfortunately, not the big festival run for us next year that we had hoped for. But I mean, like, I don't know what you think about that, but I think the pandemic has brought up many new great babies of bands. So we have so many bands there and albums out there. So there's really no shame in not getting one of the big festival slots. But anyway, we will be on the road. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, we want to play, we will play, and if it's not the festivals, we will find other places to play. We have a festival in France coming up, and slowly expanding our region of being active. And we are so happy that we have more than one album now, because, like, to be fairly honest, like when we play headliner shows, we had to play, like, we had to start over from the beginning to finish the minutes that we had in A-time, because we just didn't have any more songs. So that would just be good. Also for our fans, a relief that they don't have to chew their ears.
The same songs,
now,
right?
So, okay, dance on the territory.
I'm going to let you go in a second, but you brought something up that I think is kind of interesting. So many bands came out of the pandemic, or as you call them, like, baby bands or whatever. But I think the pandemic, obviously it was horrible. We were all locked down. Lots of crappy stuff happened. But I also think it allowed artists, not just musicians, but art, painters, whatever, more time to like hone their craft and get really good. And I think you're seeing the results of that now, right? There's sort of like a renaissance in the arts, because everybody was working on their stuff locked away forever. Does that make sense?
I totally agree with you, and I mean, I don't know if you know that, but I'm a vocal teacher. Like, I teach growl and scream, and so many people have started or picked up what they have left like 10 years ago or something, and then came kids and family life, and they started again their hobby. And I think, especially for like more mature grown-up people, where you say, "Oh, I'm too old for that, I can't learn that," that's BS, because you will never put as much time into learning as you did when you were 16, 17 and playing your instrument for 8 hours a day. If you did that, and some people did that in the pandemic, like played, and all of a sudden they figured out, oh, I can still learn. Hey, I need to prioritize my time. And I think that's a many people sharpened their artistical skills and had like so much fun with the output, because it was, for one thing, the time allowed it, or the prioritization of time allowed it. And then it was just, for an artist, this is an anchor to just be able to do that. I mean, I missed playing live so much, but had it not been for Hiraes and that we wrote that album, I think I would have gone like crazy here. And I mean, I live alone by myself in my apartment, and it's like a tiger in a cage.
Right. Oh yeah. But yeah, I think, and you probably had a lot of time. Well, I know you had a lot of time to write that Hiraes record because you were in that cage, right? You were it was just, I can really hone this down and make it, the best it can be. You weren't on some sort of deadline because nobody even knew if they were going to release records anymore or if anything was going to happen.
Exactly. We were asking us the same question, like, do we want to release the record now? We were kind of like debating back and forth also with Napalm Records. But then we made the decision that we want to release this because we did not know how long this will go on. Like, let's say it's not done in a year or a half year, it's done in 5 years. And then we have this old record on the shelf that we don't even want to put out anymore. So who knows? So it's just, no, we release it, we do that. And I think that was a good decision. And coming back to your point of, I have time to write. I was craving to write. Like, I had such a need to just get it out, just to not internalize all these feelings, that, it saved me. Saved me, yeah.
Right, which is weird to think, right? It's however it works, but that's great. That's going to brings me to the end, Britta. I don't know if you have anything else that I missed.
No, I mean, we could probably chat for hours. It's really nice to speak with you.
Oh yes.
So, no, nothing in particular. Everyone pre-order Dormant and buy the album, listen to music, go to shows, buy tickets. Oh.
And if fans want to find you, can you give us your socials?
Yes, our website is hiraes.com, and all our socials are at hiraes.official. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok.
Excellent, Britta. It was so wonderful seeing you again. I know it's been a long time.
Likewise.
When Jordan sent me this press package, I listened to it before reading it, and I was like, "Holy shit! I know that voice," but I couldn't figure out who it was at first. And then I went back and started reading. I'm like, "Oh my god! Hey, Chris. You're not going to believe this."
Awesome. That makes me really, really, really happy. Yeah. Again, as I said, like, say hi to Chris. Maybe we could just meet up for a beer online, whatever. Like, we can do that.
I would love to. I'll tell him we'll do that, Britta. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Same to you.
Be well.
See you.
Cheers.
Bye. Cheers.
With sweeping arpeggios and powerful ostinatos, New York progressive metal outfit Exodus Rising retells the most well-known events from the Bible in power metal fashion. At the end of their debut album, The Book of Life, I was overcome with one realization. The realization that religion is actually pretty metal. To start things off, there's definitely one barrier of entry to this album, and it's, of course, the subject matter. It's a very specific concept album retelling stories from the Bible, including the Old and New Testaments. And if you know any metalheads, it should be pretty obvious that that's not their typical listening. If you're somebody interested in religion, especially Christianity, and you also like overarching narrative compositions and dramatic storytelling in your music, then this might be the album you're looking for. The intro is punchy and dynamic, and it's truly just a beginning. The Book of Life is full of amazing compositions and instrumental parts. When thinking about biblical characters, we typically view them as very stagnant and reducible just to like moral lessons they communicate, kind of like fairy tales. But these songs, particularly The World We Knew, had me for the first time consider the emotional implications the events and details of the Bible actually have on these characters, and it humanizes them in a very compelling manner. I'm not a huge prog or power metal fan, but his powerful singing reminds me of some Dream Theater or primarily Angra. It's very talented, and if you're a fan of those bands, you might be able to appreciate it more. It definitely becomes more immersive as you acclimate to the album's atmosphere. If you're a fan of piano and metal, then there are some incredible piano parts you might want to hear. I know I had a phase once where I would look for specific instruments in metal songs, and if you ever catch yourself in that position and you want to hear piano specifically, then this album is just full of some of the best like piano segments I've ever heard. The Old Testament songs have chant-like parts and instrumentation that makes it feel more scriptural, almost as if it's depicting the times when the songs were written. The songs definitely stylistically evolve, just like the stories do, especially when you get to the New Testament. I mainly like the songs about the Gospels because I think the New Testament lends itself better to this kind of storytelling, and it feels more prayerful. There's also a chant they use a couple of times, which I think is the Dies Irae. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd love to know, and it's cool to see metal musicians incorporating it into their songwriting. And if you don't know what it is, it's like a really popular chant that gets used in movies a lot. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like a symbol that's been used over time. It's in The Lion King, it's in Star Wars. It's really popular, and it's something I think about using in metal a lot, so it's cool to see that. I'm not a huge fan of the album art. It definitely has a 90s CG feel to it. I'm not sure if it's intentional, but there's some color theory stuff going on that I can appreciate it, but it's a bit too chaotic for my taste. I also think at times the Book of Life can be a bit too preoccupied with Satan, and I like the album when it spotlights biblical subjects that haven't been brought up in music since like classical music was a thing. And I know it's retelling stories that have Satan as a character, but it still feels cliche, particularly in metal, that I would rather than focus on other stories that usually don't get much attention. The World We Knew had some of the coolest bass lines I've heard in a long time, and Dreamer had some really powerful moments that stood out to me. I can't criticize too much because I'm not familiar with this style. It seems to live up to progressive metal or power metal expectations fairly well. I know Exodus Rising is a progressive metal band, but this felt very power metal to me. If I'm wrong about that, can somebody let me know? Because I don't want to mislabel them. I'm just going off of instinct here, but let me know in the comments. The World We Knew had some of the most interesting bass lines that I've heard in a long time, and Dreamer had some very impactful moments that stood out to me. The end, though, definitely took me by surprise and broke the fourth wall a little bit. There's a couple times throughout the Book of Life where the vocalist lets out these very raw and emotional fry screams that are just super moving, and I would love to hear him sing like that more. All in all, if you like the subject matter or progressive metal with awesome symphonic elements and instrumentation, this one's definitely worth giving a listen.
Duszy, ten mleczu za rumem metro. Śmierć